Good morning, everybody. Bruchim Abayim. Today we have a very, very interesting Gemara, a very interesting daf, so I hope you stay tuned for the whole thing. You know, I remember seeing something on Facebook some time ago. They said, what if there's a boy in the yeshiva? He's very interested in things like dragons and wizards and stories like this. Well, he's not so interested in Gemara. How should the Rebbe get him interested, and what? And whose fault is it? Is it his fault? Is it the parents' fault? Is it the school's fault? Things like that. And it was multiple choice and had different. And my answer was, show him the Gemaras that talk about dragons and wizards and things. And there are Gemaras like this. So today we're going to learn about dragons. So I think hopefully I find dragons to be interesting. I like monster movies and stuff like that. So to see what the Gemara has to say about dragons is a worthwhile pursuit. So it says not to make figures. The bottom of our last daf, it said that the question is, what kind of images are you allowed to make? You're allowed to make certain images, yes, no. And what are the laws about what kind of images you're allowed to make? Statues and things like that. For example, we see in the synagogue, lions are a very popular image in synagogue art. And the halacha is you're allowed to have an image of a lion. Even though it's one of the pictures on the Merkava, that would seem to be a reason not to have it. But we are allowed to have images of animals because they're not worshipped. They're not. If it's only a problem if they're being worshipped. Humans are more problematic. We saw in dragons. We see is also a problematic figure. Although it's interesting, I noticed on in shul they have the crowns that they put on the Sefer Torah, and I've seen figures that pretty much appear to be dragons. Of course, they're there for decoration. They're not objects of worship or adoration, and so therefore it shouldn't really be an issue. And really, the issues with the dragons is not making a picture of a dragon, but rather if you find a picture of a dragon in ancient times, it would be assumed that the pagans worshipped the picture of the dragon, and maybe even today, in certain societies, the dragon might still be an object of worship. And so this is this is what we're discussing here. And so here we have that it says that v'ba'oisem a sefer called suras mutaris chutz mitzuras drakon. Trying to discuss what the Bryce is talking about here. Bryce is a teaching that's from the era of the Mishnah, but was not canonized in the Mishnah. We could almost call it an apocryphal Mishnah or a non-canonized Mishnaic statement, but it's not a Mishnah. It's not Mishnaic, but it's from the same era as the Mishnah, and so the time in which they were composed gives it respect and honor. But the fact of the matter is that Bryces are quite often missing something, and so you need to figure out. Sometimes they're outright wrong, and sometimes they deserve a little bit more examination to try to figure out. And that's what the Gemara is doing here, is examining. And we're not going to go over this more because this is what we learned yesterday. But it says here that all figures are permissible except for the figure of the dragon. Drakon is the word for dragon in Aramaic. It's basically the same word. Drakon, like Draco. And are you allowed to make a picture of a dragon? If we're talking about what you're allowed to make pictures of, it would seem that the dragon should be fine, as it says, "You shouldn't make any gods or silver with me," which we previously expounded to mean that it only means images of servants that serve God on high, like the sun and the moon. Honey, Hani ein Tzuras Drakon lo. So it would seem that the sun and the moon are not allowed to. You're not allowed to make pictures, but the dragon not. Hane en, these you can't make. Ein Shemashim Shibamorim, the ones who serve God on high, angels and other other things like what do you call it? The sun, the moon, things like that. But not. Let me see if I have here the. Because I kind of want. You know what? We're gonna leave this for here. So the Rashi says that the Gemara is saying was that the figure of the dragon is not found on high, and so therefore it should be permitted. I want to look at. Hold on a moment. I would pause, but I don't have pause available because there is. I thought that I just got it. Hold on. Because it seems that there is an opinion that that the dragons are something that's found on high, just like the sun and the moon. I want to find this inside here. The Tli, it's called. So let me find the Gemara here, the Mishnah. We're in Perek Gimel. So Tavnis Drakon. Tzuras Drakon. So I just want to see something. So the Rav Bartanura says something very interesting on this Mishnah. Tzuras Nachash Sheish Lo Tzitzin V'Kashkash and Kashka is a dog. That the dragon means a figure of a snake or a reptile, a serpent, that has fins or scales or hairs coming out of it, scales like fish scales, and v'omrim shehi tzura l'kli halavana. So just let's find this here. He said that some say that this is a form of the tali of the moon, v'hoisen evedis ba'oisen hayamim, and this was worshipped in those days. Even according to the rabbis who say that most statues are not worshipped, and so therefore you are allowed to have benefit from them. These, the sun, the moon, and the dragon, are not because they are worshipped. And so that's what the Bartanura brings. So, but what is this term tali halavana, the tali of the moon? What is this word tali? So the Iker Tosfos Yantiv says like this: Who shegalgal avana noita megalgal chama. That the moon is a reflection of the sun, so this the round moon comes from the roundness of the sun, the wheel of the sun, and also where they move in the sky, the way they appear to be moving from our vantage point of how the earth spins. Of course, people were not maybe aware of that, but there is also connections of all these things. Anyway, when you measure the ways of the wheel of the sun and the wheel of the moon, the connection between the moon and the sun comes in the form of a tali, which means a reptile. So some say that, I've heard Rabbi Bart Tzadok discuss that, the discussion of reptilian aliens in modern popular culture, and the Ofan, which is a wheel, and some people talk about Ezekiel's wheels being flying saucers. So there could be some connection there, although that might be pushing it a little bit. But the point what I'm bringing here is, it seems that this Gemara and Rashi are disagreeing with the Rav Bartanura, who says, and the Iker Tosfos Yontiv, or the Iker Tosfos Yontiv and the Rav Bartanura more accurately are arguing on this Gemara here in their explanation of the Mishnah, that in fact the dragon is a celestial figure like the sun and the moon. Whatever that means. I remember Rabbi Bart Tzadok saying something about this, that there is some kind of an inyan in the sky, just like the sun and the moon really exist. So also there is a celestial dragon, but we're not allowed to worship it, obviously not, because God is the only object of worship. But just like the sun and the moon are real, so too this dragon is real on some level, whether it represents something else or whatever we want to talk about. But it's indeed a real thing. I want to answer this email. Hold on. But so anyway, I'll keep talking while. So Suras Drakin lo ala pshita b'motzi k'desnan hamotzi kelim v'loim tsuras chama. So the prohibition is so there's no prohibition in making a picture of a dragon. There's only a prohibition in making a picture. Of course, it depends on what kind of dragon. Maybe this. I remember Rabbi Bart Tzadok said that the Chinese dragons are the ones that are a problem, not the that are the tali. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a problem, but those are the ones. Why can't I type here? So anyway, it means if you find them. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I can't pause this, and I don't want to start all over again. Alright. So then we'll go back to the Gemara. Sorry about that. I just don't want to keep them waiting. So Tzuras Stralka and Law Pshita b'Maitzik. It's not a Maitzik Hilmalim Tzuras Chama. So again, we're talking about finding these images, all right, and making them not a problem. Reisha v'Sefer b'Maitzik b'Mitzia sa ba'Oisei. So we're saying that the beginning and the end of the Bryce. Oh, the phone call coming in. Who's calling me? Oh, that's right. That's the wedding today. Oh, I gotta answer this. Why isn't this working? I'm gonna get going. I can't.